Glad we finally got the phones working. AJ, appreciate you working with us. Good morning.
Good morning. It allowed us to win another series and win another game. So I got to talk to you after a win instead of before the win.
It's perfect. And we want to talk a lot of baseball with you, but can you put your Pistons hat on again like you did last night? What was it like being there?
It was awesome. It was a great environment. I mean, it was, obviously NBA games are electric and it's multiplied when it's the playoffs, but I was sitting sort of, I think, a row or two behind Ben Wallace, and then you see Rip Hamilton, and then you see Gibbs, and you see St. Brown. I mean, it was so much fun to see the city, the fans, a lot of sports figures. Our team was there up in a suite, and it was a cool, it wasn't a great night to end because I've got backcourt violation. I'm not the biggest NBA. I don't know the most about the NBA, but it looked like a chance to get a last minute shot. But fun environment. Need to bounce back, obviously, on Sunday. But I was really happy to be there.
Well, this is great. Let's get your coaching points. What are the keys to winning the series for the Pistons?
I know. Well, that environment really, really cool for the Pistons. But I hadn't seen a lot of games in person. Cade Cunningham, I've always been a big fan of since he threw a first pitch out to Casey Mize a couple of years ago. But they have to keep the athleticism up, given how physical the Knicks are. I mean, that's the thing I noticed the most sitting so close to the competition is, Karl Anthony Towns. Those guys are huge. They're big. They're physical. They play kind of a rough style. So I'm going to say perimeter shooting.
So let's talk a little baseball. And going into the season, everybody was commenting on how tough the schedule looked. What's been the difference for you at the start of the season? Because it's not like you've gotten everybody back from injury. I know Gleyber Torres is back, but you don't have any of the center fielders back. What's been the key to success in winning so many series early in this schedule?
I think our pitching has been very, very consistent. We've been good across all facets of the game, but the pitching has really kept us in games and kind of gives you a chance. We've had a quick start offense, which has been nice. We still are not untracked offensively. I mean, we have some guys who are off to good starts, but the pitching, we're in games, and we have a pretty good demeanor about us. We have a great competitive spirit. We hang in games. We've gotten out hot. We've also come back, but our guys are really balanced in just bringing it every day and see what happens and try to win that game. And we've won a lot of series, I think all but two, because of the consistency in that mental approach and physical approach every day. So now the grind is maintaining that as we transition, hopefully some of these guys back onto our roster, which, is not happening necessarily today, but over the course of the next few weeks, I hope we get some guys back to where, when we need a boost, whether it's on this road trip or this next homestand, that we get, kind of that good feeling of getting some of our guys back and transitioning to the team that we expected to have.
One of those guys back is obviously Vierling. Is it sooner than later?
Well, he's doing more now than he's done at all. He's down in Lakeland, getting some live at bats, so we can get a kickstart on the offensive side of things before he gets to the full-fledged throwing. So we're hoping that can be part of his spring training, so to speak, by getting some early at bats, and then he can go out and DH, and then he can throw to bases and get himself. I mean, we're looking at center field as a position for him to focus on right out of the chute. Originally, it was going to be third base, and it'll still be a combo, but the throwing's going to come last. But if we can get him out on assignment relatively soon, then the at-bats will start to pile up for him like a spring training workload.
Well, in the interim, Javi Baez playing some center field. I feel like a positive Javi question is in order here. Selflessly moving him around. I mean, what have you seen from him just in general? I mean, because we know where he was at. He wasn't in a great place, and he seems to be in a much better spot now.
Yeah, he is in a good spot, and he's doing anything he can to help us win, which I don't think he gets enough credit for his consistency in that part of his game. Like, I know I get asked a lot of questions about, his offense, and I get asked a lot of questions every time he makes a mistake. But the things that he does well, he does very well. And one of those things is just his feel for the game and his ability to just play baseball. If I say, hey, run out on the field and play baseball, Javi can do it. And we're seeing that. We prepared him for it as this utility role or moving him around. And I know I got a lot of sort of funny looks when we put him in center in spring training, but he is a natural player and natural instincts and feel for the game that is uncommon. And so when we ask him to play center, he just nods his head and goes out there. And Javi deserves a lot of praise for his openness, in an era where that's not always the case across all sports and all athletes.
We've talked to you about Spencer Torkelson before and the pressure on him of being 1-1. When is he going to be brought up? And then he hits 30 home runs and he has a tough year. He's down to Toledo. We've seen him start off as anybody has ever wanted him to be. What's different, and is this something that we can trust or that you could trust, and is it sustainable?
Yeah, so two things I think are different. One is, he's got a little edge to him this year, which I like. Part of it's just competing against the pitcher and somewhat competing within himself. And I do like the edge that he's brought from the very get-go. I mean, listen, we called him in the winter and said, hey, man, we're gonna overload your position at first base. We're going to sign a new right-handed bat. I mean, that messaging is really hard to deliver. It's way harder to receive. And so he took it and went to work and did a ton of work this offseason to get his swing in a better place, which is the second adjustment. I think it's more athletic. I think it's directionally is good. Like, there's a lot of subtleties that maybe everybody doesn't notice, but that we do in the trenches. And it's a different swing, and that allows him to stay on more pitches. He's hitting the ball harder. He's getting the ball up in the air to the pull side. He's come up clutch. I mean, there's a lot to like based on the edge that he's bringing and the subtle swing adjustments that have made him a better hitter. Now, it's a long season. He's going to have his ups and downs like every player does, but those two basics, I think, are what give us a lot of hope that it's sustainable throughout the season with the ebbs and flows of the season.
Talking to Tiger manager A.J. Hinch, Dylan Dingler, no small feat what he's been doing, and sliding in as the full-time catcher and contributing at the plate. Why has he been so successful so early?
Well, he's talented. And, I think with Jay getting Gold Glove votes and catching all the playoff games last year, he was largely overlooked in the offseason by a lot of people as a significant contributor. But the reality is that they were going to split time from the get-go, and now he's had to take on the lion's share of that work. He's really good behind the plate. He's got a good arm. He's got every skill imaginable behind the plate. The power is real. The at-bat quality, I think, is what we're going to keep pushing him on. He still hasn't walked in 60 or 70 plate appearances. He is a sort of a free swinging type guy that can probably control the zone a little bit better as he gets more comfortable. But he is very consistent in his preparation. Pitchers trust him. In the offensive profile, suggests that he can do some things with the bat as well. So I'm glad he's getting the opportunity, not because Jake is hurt. We miss Jake, but what he needs to settle in at this level is playing time. And he was going to get partial playing time with Jake here, but this month he's gotten the majority of it, and he's taking advantage of it.
We've always wanted to see the 1-2 punch of Riley Greene and Spencer Torkelson. We're seeing it from Spencer Torkelson right now, and it's been a bumpy start for Riley Greene. Can you put your finger on why, and what are your expectations? How do you get him to be where he was last year as an all-star?
Yeah, so I wouldn't give up on Riley Greene if I was anyone watching the Tigers. I mean, he's going to be fine. I think it's, it's piled up on him a little bit, and I think he's, the pitch selection has not been as good. The posture in the box has not been as good. He's hit the ball hard, not got rewarded for it, but it's just sort of the beginning of the season. And he was super hot at the very, very beginning, and then he's found this cold stretch, and it all comes down to pitch selection with him. Now, very simple from my chair or your chair, and yours, like, hey man, just swing at better pitches and you're going to be a better hitter. But that's really what it is with Riley. And he tries to swing his way out of these things, and sometimes that's swinging too much. And, as he will draw more walks and he will get better pitches to hit, the guys around him are taking care of the offense right now. But I say to him every day, somebody's going to pay for this. Like, I don't know which pitching staff, but somebody's going to pay for this when he carries us in a series, and maybe it's this weekend against Baltimore.
AJ, I want you to zoom out. You mentioned all these series wins, 6 of the first 8 series for the first time since 2015 for the Tigers. You throw in the caliber opponent, you throw in the injuries that you guys have had to weather. What's the biggest thing you've learned about your group early in the season?
We're pretty tough. I think as I've watched this team grow up a little bit in the last, let's say, calendar year, we're pretty tough. There's a lot of attention on us. There's maybe even a little bit of chippiness in this group that I didn't know existed, just because we feel like we can win, and we get a lot of questions. It's like, how are we going to respond, and how are we going to face this schedule? Or I got asked a question in the media about was there a validation when we beat a good team? And I'm like, when is it going to be validated to beat us? Like, we've shown that we can win games and that we can play well. So I kind of like the little toughness that our guys show, and we're resilient. We don't really care, who we roll out there, and they're very good with me on me being able to, mix and match and do all sorts of things that, Jack Flaherty said something the other day when I hit Ibanez fourth, and he goes, I don't know, I guess he knows something that we don't know. Like, he even had, it was like a funny joke to me, and then we end up pinch hitting Sweeney for Ibanez, and he gets a hit. Like, we're not perfect. We're just all trying. And so I think that togetherness and that resiliency and toughness, a little bit of chippiness is a good indicator for me that our guys get it. And we have a good nucleus of players. We also have a tremendous depth that has shown up, in this first part of the season. And as we get, healthier and we get a little bit better, and you get Parker and you get Vierling back, and you see, Sawyer Gibson-Long was throwing 95 in his live BP the other day. And if the velocity comes with him, that's another, whether it's starter or bulk reliever that we can use. We're putting ourselves in a position to have a fun summer, but we're going to be grounded back into, like, can we just beat the Orioles on Friday night and get off to a good start to try to get another series win?
Absolutely, AJ. There's a lot of buzz around the baseball team. We appreciate you making some time for us.
You got it. Anytime.